I think there is a real problem with climate change that has not been taken seriously enough. I actually agree with the overriding principle of this. The thing I feel uncomfortable about are two things. One, Greta Thunberg, the 16-year-old girl with autism, becoming the face of all this and screaming abuse at adults and terrifying kids. I don't think that helps particularly. And secondly,
hang on, it's not screaming abuse.
I'm allowed... Well, she did. I'm allowed my opinion.
What was the abuse?
How dare you, shouting at adults.
That's not abuse, though, is it?
OK, whatever.
We disagree. Mischaracterising it.
But also, these protesters causing so much disruption and financial hardship to traders in Smithfield and so on. I've got a real problem with that.
I have as well. And so it's always the working people who have to suffer, because all these nice middle-class people, these champagne socialists doing what they're doing in central London. A friend of mine has come on, he sent me a message saying, this has cost me 200 quid. He can't afford £200. It's the people at the bottom. And it's not... The working people always suffer because the police get dragged in. Because of this, you saw it. It takes 6 officers to take one person away. That's not been violent, because imagine if you had to drag your granny down the stairs if she doesn't want to go. It takes 6 people to carry one. Now, all those officers are dragged in from all over London.
So they're not fighting knife crime as long as they're doing...
They're not fighting burglary, not doing drug dealing. So if you live on an awful council estate where crime is crime-ridden, you're losing those officers because they're dragged in to do this.
Skeena, you need people to change their minds. We heard from Donica, you know, the government is not changing its mind. So that's the first failure. Secondly, he said that 2/3 of people now support you. I mean, where has that come from? I'm sure that overall people support measures to stop the rate acceleration of climate change. But have you got evidence that 2/3 of people support this action by Extinction Rebellion?
I think, Susanna, and thank you for having me back, is that we have to move the debate on. And I think our motivation, and Mike, I really have a lot of empathy for you know, the police in terms of what they're trying to do, which is to keep us safe. And that's exactly why Extinction Rebellion are on the streets. One of our sites is outside the Home Office. And the reason we're outside the Home Office is because we are worried about the law and order, the fragility of the systems to climate shocks. So, for example, we have 3 major breadbaskets in the world. If one of them, and the Global Food Security Programme, are at the moment studying the risk of a climate shock affecting one of our bread baskets. If one of our bread baskets is affected...
What do you mean by bread basket?
It supplies our supermarkets with food. It's a source where our supermarkets will buy grains from, for example, grains like rice. If that happens, which the Global Food Security Programme are looking at the risk and are worrying about it and are telling our government this is a real risk, then we are looking at riots. We are looking at supermarkets being half empty. We're looking at our system's social collapse.
At the moment, you're taking
so we are worried.
All right, let me show you 2 things. One is protesters dancing in the street yesterday. Let's look at this video clip. Now, what are they doing? What are they doing there?
I don't know what that particular protester is doing, but
there's a whole
they
load
are
of them.
drawing attention. I think whatever we're doing is we're drawing attention to the planetary emergency
But they're actually
that
just...
we're in.
But hang on. They're just having a good old party. Look, they're having a good old rave, good old party. They're all dancing around, taking the day off work if they've got jobs. And they're all doing this, having a great time, whilst causing massive disruption to Londoners. I don't know what they're doing. I don't hear any protests. I just hear people having a great old party.
There have been nearly 600 arrests, so we are definitely engaging in mass, peaceful, non-violent civil disobedience.
Why are they being arrested if they're being so peaceful?
You've taken one clip, Piers, with all due respect.
Yeah.
You've taken one clip. There are some really
let me show you another clip.
Situations going on.
Let me show you another clip.
A friend of mine had his finger broken yesterday because of a scuffle with the police. So there's some really serious things going on.
Another clip is of where some of the protesters are going for lunch.
Yeah, so
hang on. We got the McDonald's clip?
Yeah, you're being very selective.
Yes, I am. Yeah, so are you. There we are. Now, explain what that protester... How is that saving the planet, exactly? Queuing up from your protest and going to McDonald's, which is the #1 purveyor of fast processed beef in the world...
We're not talking about the real issue
and getting it out of a cardboard and carton box. How does that save the planet?
Piers,
Why should I
not the issue.
Why should I look at that and think, what a bunch of rank hypocrites?
The issue is our children, my children. I have 3 daughters, and I am not sure that I'm going to be able to feed my children in years to come.
Can I jump in? Because I've got three
Because of the fragility in our system.
I've got 4 kids, and I've got to say, this frightening nonsense, you don't win any support by this frightening nonsense.
I invite you to meet our academics, our food academics and our scientists.
I could meet 1,000 scientists who tell me different things.
Credible people who are saying that our society, our systems are on the brink.
But Skeena,
because they are fragile.
You talk about being outside the Home Office because you're concerned about security. There are 600 arrests by Metropolitan Police officers who should be involved in policing the
Absolutely,
capital.
government are not listening. The public needs to be told the truth.
So you need to
Our first demand is not being met.
Under so much pressure.
We
you
have
need to provoke them in order to get
It's about
people to
disrupting
listen.
business as usual. We need a pause in the business as usual in terms of all of our systems. And
how did you get here this morning?
What we're causing is
how did you get here this morning?
A pause.
Get it? How did you get here this morning?
To understand.
How did you get here?
Your car picked me up.
You're in a car. Okay.
Yes.
Have you got a TV at home? Have you?
Can you tell me the
Sorry,
point
hang on. Just answer my questions. Have you got a TV at home?
Because again, Piers, we're not talking about the real issue.
I'm talking about it. Answer my question.
I'd like to invite you
simply
to
answer.
come to our rebellion.
With respect, answer my question.
Piers,
do you have a TV at home?
I don't think that's relevant.
Do your kids use iPads and computers?
It's
yes
not
or no?
relevant to
Can you answer these questions?
It's not relevant to the planetary
Do you have
emergency.
air conditioning? Do they have it at their schools?
Piers,
do you walk your kids to school?
Your children.
Do you see the problem with all this? You go on about my kids can't get out of bed because they're all so terrified. I'm not surprised they're terrified because your mum's telling them every day the planet's about to end. And yet, I bet your own carbon footprint on all the stuff I've just mentioned is terrible. So why don't you give up your computers?
It's not about my carbon
give up your
footprint.
television.
It's not
give
about
up your air conditioning. Walk your kids to school. Get a bike to the studio. Why don't you practice what you preach?
Can I respond to that?
Yes.
Piers? It's really not about our individual carbon footprints. This is a systems-wide issue. Unless you live in a wood completely as a recluse on your own, you are going to be part of this system.
But you have all those things I mentioned, right?
To function
Otherwise, you would have denied it.
To function in this system,
Can I just have
to be able to be here, to raise the alarm, I have to be part of this system.
Look, Skeena, you love to bang on about it, but the truth is, in your own life, with your own kids that you profess to be so concerned about, they all have computers, televisions, air conditioning, they have cars that drive them around and so on. You don't practice what you preach.
We are all
I would have more respect
China
for
or
you.
India. China
I don't mind hundreds of arrests. If the people being arrested actually practice what they preach, but they sneak off to McDonald's, they have diesel-powered generators, they all get their cars around, they all basically lead completely hypocritical lives.
No,
if you genuinely believe the planet's about to end, start with your own carbon footprint.
It is.
Otherwise, you become the Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of this debate, which is you do one thing and you say another.
Actually, it is about a systems-wide issue. It's about our government telling the truth.
So when Harry says
programs like
so
this,
when Prince Harry said
having
everyone's
an informed debate.
So if I may. So when Prince Harry said everyone's carbon footprint counts, every footprint counts.
It does.
He's wrong.
It does.
Oh, it does.
It does.
You said it doesn't.
Everybody, everything that we do now counts in terms of us coming together.
You literally just said the opposite.
Asking for the change we need.
You just said an individual doing anything doesn't count.
Every individual voice matters in this moment.
Does your carbon footprint matter?
We need.
Can you try answering one simple question?
Piers, but
seriously,
but it's not the real question.
It is my question. It's my show with Susanna and Charlotte. It's our show, literally. I'm asking you straightforward questions, none of which you're answering.
But with respect, Piers.
Do you believe your own? Can you please stop talking? Does your carbon footprint count?
I
yes
think
or
you're
no?
talking more than I am, Piers.
Can you answer?
I am here.
Sorry, I'm really having a problem here. You're not answering a single question. Does your personal carbon footprint count, yes or no?
Everybody's what everybody does in this moment matters.
So it matters. So it does count.
matter. But what we need to do in this moment.
Can you stop talking for a moment?
No.
Can you simply?
Why don't you let me answer the question, Piers?
Can you
You're not letting me answer.
You won't answer any question. Let me try again. Well, let me try again.
You keep interrupting me.
Do you have a television?
That isn't. I'm not here to answer
the question.
Because I'm not here to answer questions about my personal life.
You just said everyone's footprint counts. Does it or not?
I can answer. Can you let me speak?
I can admit to having a television.
Answer the question.
I have a television.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, but you're not protesting about climate
Can I say, and all this has
No, sorry, I'm really frustrated here. You won't answer
I can see your frustration.
Does everyone's personal
You're
carbon...
now both talking to me.
Well, why don't you try answering one of the questions?
I would like...
When Prince Harry says every footprint counts, do you agree with him?
Everything we do right now matters.
OK. Do you have a television?
This is not the question.
OK.
This is not
you know
the
what?
question
Just
I'm
total
here to
waste of time.
answer.
Because the truth is, you do have a television, and the reason you don't want to admit to having a television is that immediately throws you into the hypocrisy debate, because you're guzzling and burning up the atmosphere with your TV, and you don't want to admit it because it makes you look like a rank hypocrite.
What it does...
And that's why you won't answer the question.
What it does is it throws us into a shame situation.
No,
which
it doesn't. It throws you into a hypocrisy situation.
No, it
where you don't want to
people
admit you have all these things, and you lead your life in a completely different way to the way you want to preach to the rest of us.
Way of building inaction, and I'm here.
Why don't you start with action in your own four walls?
We need to act and come together.
Start with action in your own house. Get rid of the TV, get rid of all the laptops, get rid of the computers, get rid of the cars, get your bikes for you and your kids to the school. Start practicing what you preach.
People are making
because otherwise
sacrifices.
You're a rank hypocrite.
People are making huge sacrifices.
Have you got a TV?
Including myself.
Have you got a TV?
And Extinction Rebellion, actually, and this is the beauty of it.
Why don't we extinguish and rebel against your TV? Have you got a TV?
What's beautiful about Extinction Rebellion is people are
How many times have I got to ask you a simple question?
In
have you got a
sacrifice
television?
of their liberty, which is a huge issue.
Skeena, have you got a TV?
Which is a huge ask of people to give up
have you
their
got a TV?
I have to say, it's a good job everyone watching's got a TV.
Skeena,
thank you very much.
Exactly.
Yeah? Are your kids watching at home on the TV? Kids watching at home as well? Yeah, of course they are. Morning, kids.
It's not relevant.
Are you on your iPads or watching Mum on telly this morning?
There are hundreds of police officers sitting, waiting, doing nothing when they could be busy arresting burglars, rapists, drug dealers, and they're sat in central London right now because a load of middle-class folk can take 2 weeks off.
And you know what? I would admire them more if they just said, yes, here's my carbon footprint. I've got television. I've got air conditioning. I've got all these things. I go to McDonald's. I'm a sinner. I would respect you more if you just admitted it.
You complain when they don't have a shower.
Yes, I do, because a lot of them, I'm afraid, I've been up there, they smell.